That trip was a life changer. From that moment, everything changed.
Did you know anyone in Singapore?
No, if he comes from here, it doesn't matter if people speak your language, if they don't, they understand you. People will see it and you get rewarded for it.
Hello, my name is Charlie Karomi, and apart from being drop-dead gorgeous and incredibly talented, I am also an immigrant. You see, in 2022, I packed up my bags and left my home country of Kenya to a country I'd never been to before. For adventure, for opportunity, for meh, why not? But my story is not unique. You see, every single year, tons of people immigrate to new countries to start new lives. Just like me. That means tons of new exciting stories are out there. This is a place where you'll get to listen to some of them. This is Vybes N Visas. Hey guys, welcome to Vybes N Visas with me, Charlie Karomi. Now, you guys have heard the phrase, East or West, home is the best. Now, today we have a guy who started in the west of Africa, but then went far east, all the way far east, but then finally came west, where he found his current home. Ladies and gentlemen, this week on Vybes N Visas, give it up for Martinz! How you doing, my brother?
Good. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for being on the show. Really nice to have another African brother out here.
Why not?
Nice to see you. Also, before we continue and before I forget, big shout out to Nanaimo North Town Center.
North Town Center, that's right.
So we're here at the Nanaimo North Town Center. A really nice place in case you're ever in Nanaimo and you need to go, I don't know, to the Canadian Tire to get your stuff. We have Lowe's here. You can go watch a movie at Galaxy.
That's
Come
right.
on down to the Nanaimo North Center. They will hook you up. Thank you so much for having us. So, before I even get to the question that always starts every episode, I have to ask you this. You've been to too many countries,
too many
languages for you not to teach me how to say hello in at least one language. What's the weirdest language that you know?
I would say, well, it's not weird, it's just different.
Strangest.
It's Khmer. Khmer, which is Khmer.
Khmer. That's Khmer.
Yeah, if you go with the English pronunciation, but the local call it Khmer.
Khmer,
Yeah, which hello is Saksubai.
What?
Saksubai. Saksubai is like, hi, how you doing? Saksubai.
It sounds like you're saying, yo, sexy guy. Saksubai to you guys.
Saksubai.
And Saksubai to you, Martinz.
Saksubai te.
So, what's that you did? Saksubai te?
Saksubai te is like, hey, how are you? Like, put the te is just like an addition to make it sound more like, you know.
Saksubai te.
Saksubai te.
Love it. So, Martinz, I need to start with this question.
Yes.
This is how we always get started on Vybes N Visas.
Okay.
We're here in Nanaimo. It's a harbor city on Vancouver Island.
Correct.
My question is this. Why did you come here to Canada? Why did you come here?
To Canada?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well,
big questions. Big questions. That's how we get started. Yeah.
Why? Well, first of all, I must say my wife grew up here. She was born and raised in Nanaimo. So we're both living abroad.
Okay.
And when it was time to move to Canada, it was just a no-brainer. We just go to a place where she knows very well.
You guys didn't meet here?
No.
Okay.
We just moved straight down to Nanaimo.
So the answer should be in one sentence. So the first part of the sentence is to go back to my wife's home.
Basically, yeah. To go back.
Do you have a final part to that sentence, or is that it? Why did you move to Canada? To move back to my wife's home.
Basically, that was what it was. Because we were raising a family abroad, and it was time to kind of settle and stop traveling too much. So Nanaimo was just the place we settled.
So the answer to your question, why did you come here?
Yeah.
To raise your family at home.
At home, basically, yes, at home.
Okay.
To raise family at home, basically.
Okay, family, man in the building.
It's all about family.
I love it.
It's all about family.
Okay, let's go to the beginning.
Yeah.
This is always the first part. Where are you from originally?
Nigeria.
Nigeria, my brother.
You can't.
Do you speak Igbo, Yoruba? Is Hausa also?
Hausa is one of it, but
Yeah.
I speak Yoruba.
Yoruba.
Yeah.
I don't know anything in Yoruba.
I'm Yoruba.
What state were you born in?
I was born in Lagos.
Lagos?
Yeah, the main, like, we're all the place now. There's Lagos and every other place, right?
Guys watching from Port
Port
Harcourt
Harcourt will be
are
mad.
they're going to be
Port
pissed.
Harcourt, awesome place. Abuja is another place. Abuja, sweet. So, so yeah, but Lagos, you know, you just can't beat the vibe of Lagos. It's just amazing. So.
Awesome. So you were born in Lagos?
Born and bred, yes.
When did you leave Lagos? Like, when did you move from Nigeria?
Oh, from Nigeria. That was in 2007.
2007.
Yes. It's been how many years now? 7 to 17 will be 10.
Yeah.
17 to now. We're really bad at math. 17 to
3
now.
plus 3, 6.
6. So 16 years. Oh my God.
16
It's
years.
been that long.
You.
A kid that was born when I left, he's a teenager now.
He's almost about to be allowed
He's
to
almost
drink.
finished high school.
Come on. 2007.
Yeah. 37, yeah.
Okay. Why did you leave Nigeria?
I've always knew Nigeria was my starting point.
In what way?
In what way? I mean, it's where I was born.
Yeah.
It's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And I knew I want to live abroad. When I had this in my head, I did not know where I would live.
Yeah.
I did not know how I would make it there, but I knew I wanted to. And I think it started from just as a young boy growing up in Lagos, watching tons and tons of, we call it American film.
True.
And you just realize through that, for me, I just realized there's another world out there that why do I only get to see it on TV? Why can't I just go experience it? And I remember so many times I would walk down the street with my sister and we'd see planes flying. And I was like, I want to go at that thing, you know? And my sister would say, yeah, I'm sure that is going to America. I said, I must go to that America.
I love your sister. She's like, that one is going to America. That one is going to
America. I say, I must go to that America. Now, you know, slowly like that. And by the time I got into college, my final year of school, all my friends were looking for jobs. Okay, I want to work with that company. I wasn't. I was looking at the map. Where do I go?
But everyone is like, I want to work for Shell. I want to work for, what's that big African bank?
Either Shell or UBA.
Yeah, I want to work for UBA.
First
I
Bank
want to work for this. You are like, I want to go here.
I was looking at the map and I was checking visa requirements. Okay, UK, difficult. America, not easy. I was checking here and there. And I realized at one point there were opportunities. There's something called visa free.
Yeah.
Oh, great, why not? All you need is money. Great.
So that's all you need, because guys watching are curious. All you need to go is like Google visa-free countries, my passport.
Even today, to the 2023, there are still countries where you don't need a visa.
Or you get a visa on arrival.
Some you get on arrival, some you just don't get. You just don't need a visa. They give you an entry permit. That's all you need, and you can get it right there at the airport. And they will give you, of course, you stay for maybe 3 months, 2 months, something like that.
So if you're watching and you're like, oh, my excuse for not traveling is because I don't have a visa,
you should do your search.
Come on.
Yes, do your search.
So visa free. Well, other people are looking for jobs. You're like, this is a country I want to go.
I want to go.
Okay.
But I'm checking stuff about countries, the culture, the language. How am I going to survive? Are there jobs and all that and all that and all that?
It was all out research.
It was all out research.
At the end of the research, what country won? Where did you go to first? Because you didn't just come straight to Canada.
No.
Yeah.
Singapore won.
Singapore?
Not because my research highlighted Singapore. Singapore, if you remember, if you go back, was part of Malaysia. And I've looked into Malaysia. I need a visa to get into Malaysia. So, off my radar. For some reason, I think also way back, they came outside of Malaysia and became their own country.
Yeah.
It's a one city country. It's just one place, right?
Yeah.
But I think at that point they were just starting to open up to the world-ish. Yeah. And I did not find out until maybe after a year, after a couple of months of me working, it's just someone just say, do you know that Singapore is visa free? I'm like, are you sure? All it took was a very quick search and we looked it up. Is this visa free to Nigerians? What are we doing here? Pack your bags and go.
You can't tell me it was that. You're just like, oh, I don't need a visa. Let's go. That was it.
I found out let's say I found out 1st of January, just for example.
Yeah.
I think I left the country about 4 or 5 weeks later. It was that quick.
Martinz, come on.
I tell you. Just like that. Like, what am I waiting for?
Because Martinz knows he's a traveler.
I know I was meant.
Explorer.
I have to get out. And you'll be surprised, that was the first time of me getting on a plane. My very first time was when I left the country.
Did you know anyone in Singapore?
No. I had no idea where
Did you know
I was
anyone
going.
who traveled to Singapore?
No.
Martinz, you are stressing me.
I know.
You're giving me high blood pressure. Just so this is your first time out the country.
First time get out of the country.
First time
out of my parents' house. I got a passport before I left. Yeah.
Like a week before you left.
Yeah, my passport was a funny story because I was telling I think a coworker that, hey, I want to travel.
Yeah.
And I told him my dream. I want to travel. I want to live abroad and all that. He said, oh yeah, okay. So he was thinking maybe I'm way ahead of the process. Oh, so you have your passport, visa, everything.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't have anything. So you're gonna need one if you want to travel.
Yeah.
So anyways, he set me up, brought me the application form because I was working full time. I had no time to go get it.
Yeah.
And we did all that. I had to go to the passport office, take the picture, fingerprint, all that fancy stuff. A couple of weeks later, I got my passport. And then we started looking visa. It was during this that the idea of Singapore came up. I'm like, oh, that's good. Now, keep in mind, I'd been working for about 7 months before this happened. So I'd been saving up. I was living with my parents. So I was just, all my money was...
You get your salary, savings.
It's just savings. I didn't have a car. I don't have to pay for rent. I had a girlfriend, but she was at school. She wasn't costing me much. So all the money was just going to savings.
I'm learning a lot so far from your story. One of the things I've learned is don't be scared.
Of course.
Because you weren't scared. You were just like, let's go to Singapore.
I was young. And what's the worst that can happen? It didn't work out. You buy yourself, of course, a round trip ticket.
Yeah.
That's the
Just
insurance right there.
Ticket.
You go back home, man. At least you give it a shot.
So
right?
I'm learning that fear has no place.
No place, man. If you want it to be perfect and you want to know someone and you want to have a job before you go, you never go.
So that's another thing I'm learning from you is when you didn't need to spend money, you weren't. You were saving it up for something else.
Yep, I had.
Because some young people, they get that first salary.
And you think, yes, no.
Let's go.
Well, you'll be surprised. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoking. I was just a typical young church boy. Go to church, go to work, go home. That's it. And I remember a friend of mine, a colleague said, oh, now we're young guys, we're making good money, we should get a place of our own. Like, you should move out of your parents' place.
Yeah.
And I said, why? He said, of course, because you're making money now. You're an adult. You're what, 22, 23? You should get out of your parents' house. Like, well, maybe for you, but for me, I had something else I want to do with my money. I didn't say that to him, but I just knew that's not the plan I have for myself. It's why do I need a place? For what? Anyways, yeah, so that was it. All my money went into savings, and I knew what I was doing. I knew my goal. I don't want the opportunity to show up and I wouldn't have the cash. I'll be so disappointed. And the opportunity showed up. I had the cash. The ticket was cheap. Well, consider how much I had. It was a no-brainer. Just buy it.
2007, you leave Lagos.
Yes.
You leave Nigeria. You leave Africa.
I left Africa, man.
To
Singapore.
To be honest, I probably cannot point Singapore out.
Oh yeah?
It's over to the east.
It's
right?
very southeast. Yeah, Malaysia. Just at the very end of Malaysia.
Singapore.
Yeah.
What did you do when you got there?
Oh, Singapore was fun. I still remember my very first day there, getting off the plane, not knowing anybody, not even knowing where you're going.
Martinz, you're stressing me. What do you mean?
The only thing I had to do, the only thing that I had to show at the airport was that I have hotel reservation.
Yeah.
Which I booked when I was in transit in Dubai, because I didn't book in Nigeria. I booked when I was in transit in Dubai. Oh yeah, I need a hotel reservation. Went on the internet. It was free internet in Dubai airport. Then booked it. And at that point, life was easy. They won't let you put a credit card or anything. You just book it, you show up and all that.
You haven't even paid for the hotel.
I haven't paid for it. And the only thing I knew when I got to Singapore was the neighborhood where the hotel was and the street. And I remember I was telling a co-worker recently, I was standing I took a taxi from the airport to downtown. And I was standing at downtown trying to get a taxi to where the hotel was for at least 45 minutes. And I'm sure in 45 minutes about 40, 50 taxis stopped, but none of them picked me up. Because I guess I was pronouncing the name of that location wrong. Each time, and these guys don't speak English, most of them, some of them don't. So each time they stop, I tell them, the name was called Joshiat. I say Joshiat, they look at me. What? I say Joshiat. They shake their heads, they go, what am I doing wrong here? And it was getting dark, and I was like, oh my God, no country.
Can't you write it down and show them?
I did not even think that far. I had my bag, my shoe were hurting and everything. Until one young guy just walked up to me. He said, where are you going? I said, Joshiat, and I show him the hotel. I said, oh, Joshiat. He stopped the first taxi, said the same thing. He said, yeah, come on in.
Wait, what is the pronunciation?
I can't remember, but it was Joshiat, Joshiat, Joshiat. And I got in. In my head, I was thinking, what was I doing wrong? Anyways, the taxi took me there, dropped me. I walked around trying to find the address for that hotel. Eventually, I found the hotel, and I booked myself in. I paid cash, and I stayed there. And from there, you go out, you see people. I met maybe one Nigerian guy. One of my struggles also was trying to find food. You don't think about all these things until you leave, and then that's when it dawns on you that, oh, their food is different. Oh my God.
In what way?
So, growing up in Nigeria, you eat rice and eba and so many other things, right?
Yeah. Fufu. I know fufu.
And we eat fufu too.
Yeah.
Everything comes with a sauce and meat and,
Yeah.
And this is me in the middle of Singapore, looking at all the food. It was soups and noodle soup and this and that. The smell was different. The taste was different. Some with rice, some without rice. And I was like, I can't eat this stuff.
What do you mean? When in Rome, you eat what the Romans are?
Well, eventually I had to. I remember my first few days was McDonald's. I found McDonald's. When I left, I don't think there's even McDonald's in Nigeria, even now.
Yeah.
So McDonald's was like what you see on TV.
There's no McDonald's in Kenya.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I figured, oh, McDonald's. Oh, yeah. McDonald's. So I went in and, I want that. I was loving it. Like, yes, I'm now living abroad. But you realize after a while, McDonald's cannot keep you going.
Yeah.
And your money is,
Like every time you eat.
Every time you eat, it goes down. I need to find something cheaper than McDonald's. So eventually, I found a lady down the street, a Chinese woman, who served me this bowl of something with rice that tastes at least close to what I'm used to.
Yeah, my stomach can
handle this.
Yeah.
And if you know Milo, you have Milo?
Yeah.
In Singapore, they call it Milo. So I saw it. I said, oh yeah, Milo. She looked at me, Milo. I said, no, Milo. I said, okay, well, whatever.
Potato,
but make it for me. Yes.
Potato.
I would eat rice and Milo every evening. So much that the woman, when I'm walking to the store, she doesn't need to ask, what do you need? She's just, Milo and rice and everything, get it already. Cost me $2. Way cheaper than McDonald's.
Let me ask, are you working?
Well, I did some work on the side. The struggle with Singapore is, this happened to me. Now, don't forget my tourist visa or my tourist entry permit, which you have to get something at the airport before you get in, right? That will tell you how long you can stay.
And what you're allowed to do.
What you're allowed to do, yeah. So employment not permitted, you can stay. I think I got like 8 or 9 months. Like you can stay whatever you want. That was gonna end, so you gotta either go back home or go elsewhere. So at this point, I was in Singapore. I met a few Nigerians, some from Malaysia, some also coming from Nigeria, some already in Singapore. I met a guy who was a Singaporean, Adrian, I think was his name, who was a student of NUC, National University of NUS, National University of Singapore then. So he showed me around, you start getting comfortable after a while.
Yeah.
But the problem was getting a work permit in Singapore. Before anyone will employ you, you need a work permit. So you go to the government office. The first question is, do you have a job? You say no. So, well, you need to go get a job And it makes sense. You get a job, we see how long your contract is, we give you a work permit that matches your contract.
Oh, so the job comes first.
Correct. You will think.
But now the question is, when you go to get a job, don't they ask you?
The same question they ask. Do you have a work permit? You say no. They say, well, I cannot give you a job if you don't have a work permit. I'm like, yeah, but if you give me a contract, then I could go get, the government will come down on me.
It's the same thing employers do.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have experience?
Exactly. No.
We can't give you the job.
I cannot give you a job. How am I going to get the job if I don't have the experience?
How am I going to get the experience if I don't have the job?
So I went back and forth. Now, in the midst of this, because of the people I know, I was doing side jobs, admin work here and there. I just pay by cash.
Under the table.
Under the table. Yeah, something to keep you.
The revenue authority does not need
they don't
to know
that.
Yeah.
Something to keep you going. But it got to a point you have to sit down, check your finances, and say, okay, what do I do now? Do I just extend my return ticket and go home, or what do I do? I remember at that point I had less than, in US dollars, I had less than 3,000 left. I brought way more than that, right? You were set up nice. Oh, I was set. I had good money when I came
3,000, that's not a bad.
3,000 at that point was me thinking, okay, I'm getting broke.
We're at the point of no return now.
Yes, I got to make a decision here. Yeah, that was at 3,000. Yeah, I was set up good. And this is what I decided. This is what I landed on.
Yeah.
I looked at the map again. So, okay, I know I'm going to go back to Nigeria because, of course, these guys won't give me a work permit, so I won't get a job. But before I go, I will travel to all these small countries all around. And one thing I think most people don't know about Southeast Asia, they have this low-cost airlines that flies multiple countries, and you can really get cheap flights. I don't know, $100.
Oh, just to hop from one
country to the other. They're very cheap.
Local flights are pretty, like local to that area.
To that part of the world, basically. Affordable. So it's very affordable.
Yeah.
So I say, you know what? I'll do a quick round trip. Vietnam, Cambodia.
A homecoming tour.
And then when I'm done, I will swallow my pride and head back home. And
then look at the map again and plan.
And maybe at one point again in my life I will. Which is exactly what I did. Singapore, Thailand, Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia. The visas were pretty easy to get.
Yeah.
I did not even go to an embassy. I remember I met a guy at the mall, like a traveling agency. I gave him my passport. About a week, came back later. I had all the visas I need. So I booked flights.
So from Singapore, explain to me, because one of the other places you spent a lot of time was Cambodia.
Cambodia, correct.
So from Singapore, where did you go next? Was it Cambodia? Vietnam.
Yeah.
So Singapore to Vietnam.
Correct.
Then from Vietnam.
Cambodia. Because they're right beside each other.
And Cambodia was the next stop on your world tour, because you spent a bit of time there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Martinz, you're probably wondering.
This is what I want us to do. We're going to pause there.
Okay.
Because that's part one. Because already, my heart, my blood pressure. Because you're just in Nigeria, like, let's go. Where? I don't know. And then you just go to say, I'm stressed. So I need to take a breather, have some coffee. So when we come back, you're going to explain how you ended up in Cambodia, how long you stayed, how you worked there, and then your final decision to come all the way across to Canada.
Perfect.
We'll pick that
up. We can do that. Yeah.
The exciting, the enthralling, the topsy-turvy story of Martinz and his journeys continues in just a bit. You're watching Vybes N Visas. See you in a bit.
I know.
And now my love for you is so strong.